Okay, so I had an owl as my original design that's shown in the module, but just to review, I have this shape here, kind of emphasizing like the owl's eyes and then the feathers coming out from here. And I have a different stylized version with like these crazy pieces coming off for the horns, and then the beak, right? So that's my basic illustration showing that, okay? I don't know if it'll stay in focus. Now from the side, this is going to be the flat back, and I'm going to have this shape, but it's going to indent a little bit in between where these eyes are going, okay? And then the beak will attach right here and here, but that'll be attached later. I don't need to build that for the armature, okay? And just to show that again, what it's going to look like from the side. So I have some newspaper. I also have some rolls of masking tape. I do have clear packing tape. Don't use that though, because the clear packing tape actually sticks to the clay and can pull apart your form while you're working, okay? So this isn't like rocket science or anything. It's literally just taking it, opening it up, and crumpling, okay? It is important to actually open it up because it pillows it a little bit more than just taking this whole thing and crumpling it down, okay? And as I go, I'm actually just going to tear off a few strips. And this tape, man, I don't know about you if you have pet peeves, but tape that like tears unevenly is right up there for me. So yeah, I'm just going to tear off some strips and have it on the ready. So it's less work when I get to where I need to put them together. Again, I'm going to just pat that down. Take my first piece. And just start holding it together. And I'll keep adding. And I know it just kind of looks like a blob, but essentially what this is going to do is just hold and support the clay so it doesn't collapse. Dry fingers. That plagues me at the grocery store and I'm trying to get produce bags. I feel like I spend an extra 20 minutes in that section just because I'm like dealing with my dry fingers. All right. Let's see. Like I said, I do want this to be finally about, 12 to 14 inches, which is here to here. So I don't need much more if I'm going to build it to like 11 inches right here. That means that I'm going to have about a ½ inch thickness, which is fine to meet that minimum requirement. But remember, I also have some other pieces that might add to that width here, okay? And just because you guys need to see for the camera. I have these things that I was going to add to my details that extend beyond the side here and here. You could build some other ways too, so you don't have to build it like 12 or to 14 inches tall or wide. It could actually, if you're like thinking of maybe an alligator or something, you could build your alligator 12 to 14 inches like coming off of the wall, which would be really cool. Be really kind of obstructive to think about something like that. There's my quick alligator version. Okay. All right. So the last piece I'm going to use is just kind of tying it together. just so it's easier to manage. And then I'm just going to kind of pack that down in sections to make sure that this paper has enough give for my clay. Okay. So what animals are you thinking about building?
I'm doing an aerodactyl.
Don't know? Cat? Like a domestic house cat, or like a lynx, or like... Ooh, there you go. Way to tie it with your name. Hayden, do you have a favorite animal? Or an animal that you absolutely hate? Anybody know that, like, consider themselves having a specific spirit animal? Mine's a pug, according to the internet, which is always right. Which is weird. I don't even know if I like pugs.
I know you do.
I'm sure I would, but wouldn't be my first choice of dog.
What are you talking about?
I grew up with boxers, and now I have an Australian Shepherd. I like dogs that are active and give me an excuse to be active too. Okay, so essentially, goal today is to at least get to this point. So have your designs on the ready. Like I said, if you didn't do that component, you're going to go home for homework tonight and do that component for details. But for now, you need like a basic form of an animal and to create your basic armature that's going to support your clay over the top of it. Does that make sense? Yes. An armature is a supporting form. Okay? So this is not going to be part of the final design. This is just going to support the clay while you're building it. Okay? Good question. Well, it was... It's actually used, I don't know where it originates from. I'm sure it's something in old art, but when I started using it in my sculpture work, I actually found this vintage Hollywood periodical from like the 40s and 50s that showed how they created the claymation King Kong, and it had all of the like metal armatures that they used inside, and a lot of it was actually made out of like rigid bike chains and stuff, which was really cool, so that they could like hold and articulate the form quickly. So similar to how like Tim Burton movies are made over armature forms, we're just using a very rough armature out of paper. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, either depending on time and where you guys get to, I'll either start building the basic slab form over top of this, or we'll do that next class. Okay. And since Matthew, you're already at that point, we're going to go ahead and have you start that video so that you can start building your slab form over the top. Okay. So I'm going to pass out tape and newspaper, probably 1 or 2 rolls per table, so that you guys can start cranking one of these out. Okay? Questions?
I'm actually gonna need